It is with great pleasure that I now introduce you to our commencement keynote speaker, the Honorable L. Doulas Wilder. Governor Wilder is the 66th Governor of Virginia and a distinguished professor of public policy here at our school that proudly bears his name. His career in public service spans more than 70 years and includes several historic milestones. He is the first African American to serve as governor of a U.S. state, elected governor of a U.S. state, the first elected African American governor, and the first African American to be elected lieutenant governor in Virginia. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first elected African American governor of the United States of America. A native of Richmond's historic Church Hill, Governor Wilder graduated from Virginia Union University, which is very close by, and served in the United States Army during the Korean War, where he earned a Bronze Star for heroism in ground combat. After the war, he earned a Juris Doctorate at Howard University School of Law, establishing a legal practice in Richmond shortly thereafter. He won election to the Virginia Senate in 1969 and served 5 terms before taking office as the Lieutenant Governor of Virginia. In 1989 is when he was elected as the 66th Governor of Virginia. But Governor Wilder didn't just rest on his laurels in terms of being elected as first African American governor in the United States. He did a lot and continues to do a lot. So as governor, Wilder was commended for his sound fiscal management and balancing the state budget during very difficult economic times. For the first time in the state's history and for 2 consecutive years under Wilder's administration, Virginia was ranked as the best managed state in the United States by Financial World magazine. He was one of the nation's first governors to develop a statewide rainy day fund to prepare for emergencies and future challenges, a fund that remains in place today. Governor Wilder invested in the Commonwealth transportation infrastructure and led construction projects at many of Virginia's colleges and universities, mental health facilities, and state parks. Persuaded to run for mayor in 2004, Governor Wilder received 80% of the vote and carried each of Richmond's 9 council districts and every precinct in the city of Richmond. He was sworn in as Richmond's first elected mayor in 2005 and served until 2009, making him the first African American mayor elected by popular vote from all of the citizens of Richmond. Since 2009, Governor Wilder has served as a distinguished professor at VCU, where he lectures and hosts symposia, including the most recent 2024 election. I always tell people I know of no class that Governor has been invited to that he did not accept that invitation and speak to our students. He makes himself available to our students, and we thank you for that, Governor. He is the recipient of more than 36 honorary degrees, including the NAAC Spingarn Medal, the Anna Eleanor Roosevelt Medallion of Honor, the University of Virginia Center for Politics Defender of Democracy Award, the SCLC Drum Major for Justice Award, and the Thurgood Marshall Award of Excellence. And I will also say, so that you don't have to get out your phone, Governor Wilder, in slightly more than a month, will celebrate his 94th birthday. So please join me in welcoming our 2024 commencement speaker, the Honorable Governor L. Doulas Wilder.
Thank you, Dean Gooden, and to the distinguished faculty, staff, and family, friends, and most importantly, the graduating class of the VCU School of Government and Public Affairs. I can't tell you how pleased I am to be with you this afternoon, too. And this tomorrow too. As a matter of fact, when you get my age, you'll be happy to be anywhere at any time. I listened to Ashley Burkirk earlier to speak to you, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Where is she? Where is she? Went back to sit down. Can't tell you how much I appreciated what you said. You captured it all, every bit of it. And to the extent that you at your young age were able to grasp the significance of education and to know what it means and what it meant, is such a message. And you classmates, they've got to be proud. They've just got to be proud, because you said it all. I was a frustrated student when I was coming along. Early on, I thought I wanted to be a doctor. Why? Because that's what everybody said was successful. You got to be a doctor. All right. So when I went to Virginia Union, I majored in biology. Didn't like the teacher, so I changed and majored in chemistry. Chemistry didn't like me, but I stayed with chemistry. And then I ultimately graduated with a degree in chemistry. Started working in toxicology, the science of poisons, and working with investigating the deaths of people, running all of the drunk driving tests to be taken in the state as well. But I wasn't happy. But I did it because it was good. It was a job. I finally got a job. And Brown versus Board of Education decision came down. I couldn't believe it. And my boss, who was Jewish, said, "Doug, you said you wanted to be a lawyer. Yeah, why don't you do it?" And he said, "I'll write a letter of recommendation for you." And I said, "Yeah, but I don't have any money." Howard University was the only law school that I could have attended, but I did go there. And while there, I was very much interested in people and what people do. And so, listening to you, Ashley, it tells me that you're on a path, but you are enlightening others in the spirit of what needs to be done. That's what education is. And the journey you students have trod has been many things: challenging, interesting, and expensive. And I know it. But the receiving of your degree sets other things in motion to further the climbing the ladder of success. And what is success? You never stop climbing. You never stop getting there. No one is prouder of you than your family and friends who've been there for you every step of the way. And they'll continue to be with you every step of the way. You're fortunate to be here a stone's throw from the nation's capital and nestled here in the bosom of our state capital. You have firsthand experience of the workings of government. You've seen and been up close and personal to see how sausage is made. It's not the most pleasant sight when people say, "Oh, you got that sausage? Have you ever seen any of it made?" No, whoa. Don't know if I want to taste any of that sausage or not. So how will you use that rich experience? Among the things that I would encourage you to do is to be a part of the polity in your community. That polity is the decision-making processes that take place in your community. It doesn't mean you got to run for anything. Doesn't mean you got to run from anything. To be a part of what the decision-making is and what it's about. And so I've mentioned local last, but it's the most important form of government, because that's the form of government that's closest to the people. That's where the trash gets collected or not. That's where crime needs to be enforced, if not. That's where you need to have the ambulance or whatever it is necessary to get the medical attention that you need. It's at the local level. They can say whatever they want to. in Washington, but does it help you in Richmond? And if not now, who represents you in Richmond? Who represents you in Washington? And if they're not doing the job, why not? Doesn't mean you got to run for office, but it means that if they want to be there, they got to come through you. They've got to listen to you. And they don't have to if they don't want to. Just take them out. Very simply done. Sometimes easily done. Sometimes people forget. Oh, yes, it was good for me to be elected lieutenant governor, good to be elected governor. But people said, you have got to be out of your crazy mind. You're going to run for governor in Virginia? Are you crazy? I said, this is my home. It's where I live. I know, but you know Virginia's history? Yes, I do know Virginia's history. I want to be a part of making that history apply to not just me, but people that look like me or any others. And so I decided when I was going to run for office in the state of Virginia, I thought Western Virginia was Roanoke. I had never gone out to the western part of our state, to Lee County and to Wise County. I'd never been out where the coal miners live in Bristol and where they work. I'd never said that I could understand their problems. And so what did I do? I said, I'm not going to stay in hotels. I'm not going to stay in motels. I'm going to stay in the homes of the people that I meet and that I talk with. And so I can learn and know who it is that I'm to represent. Well, the media couldn't wait to follow. You go on a trip, they say, well, we know we're going to be there when we witness this incident. When we see him, when they tell him, no, no, no. I said, come on, follow. I'm here to report to you that at not a single time in Virginia did anyone ever afford me an insensitivity. Was I denied the opportunity to come and campaign in the barber shops, the beauty saloons, the pool halls, the places of meeting and gathering places? No one ever said, no, we will not permit you to campaign here. And I knew the media was going to be there. I had all of the free publicity you could find because they were waiting for people to throw me out. But the people of Virginia said, no, we're going to throw him in. And so I take great pride in Virginia being that state that was voted the best managed state for 2 years in a row. Never had been voted best managed before. But when I was governor, I discovered something. I was so happy. I went down to the foot of Capitol Hill to meet with my predecessor, who was a friend, who I'd run with before when he ran for Attorney General. I ran for Lieutenant Governor. And I ran for governor, and we'd run before in terms of him being a delegate, me being a senator. And I said, well, I'm here getting ready to be sworn in next week. Happy as a lark. And just want to know where we stand with the ducats. You know, how much money do we have? They said, well, we're going to talk about it. I said, well, I hope so. And that's why I'm here. He said, well, I'm not going to leave you broke. I said, that's comforting. But how much do we have in the budget? He said, well, I'm going to leave you 35. I said, $35 billion? 35 million. I said, no, I'm talking about the state budget. See, I know I'm going to leave you $35 million to run the state. Yes, I said, well, would you please let me have it, and the slip you got there so I can take it with my people and show it to them? He said, no, I can't show it to you yet. I've got to show it to the Speaker of the House first. Let him look at it. I said, good Lord. I left. Now, I'm going to be sworn in as governor in the next couple of weeks. And then I was sworn in, and can tell you that it was not the most pleasant of experiences. People did find out they were broke, and they told me that, well, we got to raise taxes. we've got to cut this, we've got to do that, we're going to do the other. But we've got to increase taxes here, we've got to increase and decrease services here or there. I said, no, we're not going to do any of that. And I told my people, what I will have you do is, we're going to establish a reserve fund. And in that regard, I want you to go out and find me $200 million. And when you find it, come back. Today is Thursday, I'll see you Tuesday. They said, well, he's lost it. He's gone. But lo and behold, they came back and they said, you know, you told us things were tight. We knew things were tight. But we got some good news for you. I said, what you got? We have found $75 million. I said, you told me you couldn't find anything. Look what you did. $75 million. They stood back ready to receive congratulations, to me to pat them on the back. I said, today is Thursday. I'll see you next Tuesday when you come back with what I asked you for, $200 million. They said, my Lord, this can't be so. But that did happen, and they came back. And Susan had pointed out to you, yes, we were recognized as the best fiscally managed state in the nation 2 years in succession. Oh, established the rainy day fund. Virginia can't go broke. They couldn't go broke. Here's why. I put it in so that if you put it in, you can't take any money out until you replace what you took. That's the way our Constitution is set up today. You want to take some money out of that reserve fund, have you put what you borrowed out of it back? Well, do so before you get any. And then in between that, you need to cut the niceties and put funding for necessities. We had 2 student loan offices within 6 blocks of each other, right here in the city of Richmond. You mean we need 2 student loan offices? Well, you know, such and such a person wanted that. So you can't dip into Virginia's reserve fund at all. Now, I'd served for all this time in the state senate. I didn't know this. I served as lieutenant governor. I didn't know this. So it took me to serve as governor to find out just where we were in terms of the money. And that's why I wanted the people of Virginia to know, as soon as they could know, that we need to be handling our monies like we would handle our own. And I mention these things here today because we have candidates like we see and make all kinds of promises, tell you what they're going to do, and when they're going to do it. And I asked them on so many occasions, tell me what you have done. Well, you know, I want to run for such and such an office. I said, okay, but why should the people vote for you? What have you done? Well, I'm going to do something for education. I believe in something. Who doesn't? Well, I want to do something in criminal justice. Like what? Now, does it mean that you got to be elected in office before any of this takes place? No. But it means that you've got to be a part of what I call the polity. Be a part of that group that determines what goes on. We've got things running through the skies now. Nobody can tell us. Think of this. This is 2024. People can't tell us what's in the sky. How many people believe that? I don't see a single hand going up. You mean to tell me you've got all sorts of experts that we're paying millions of dollars to study? They are defense experts. They know about munitions. They know about arms. They know about this, that, and the other, and they can't tell you what's up there? Well, we think it's the size of a small truck. You mean you got something small running around over top of me the size of a truck that could fall? I'm not trying to create pessimism with you. I'm here to congratulate you, because you're going to find the answers. You're going to know the answers. You're going to make certain that you know what's taking place. Your charge is not to be providing anything but sobered and respectful leadership. needed to carry us through uncertainties. People have said to me one thing about Wilder, he reached across the aisle. And by that they meant the Republican as well as the Democratic side. And though it sounds good, that isn't quite the way it happened. I never saw the aisle. I saw another senator. I saw another delegate. I saw someone else. When you create aisles, you create divisions. And if you believe, if my party calls me to be divided before I can think openly, then that party is not for me. And so I would say to you, your charge is to be a part of providing sober, respecting, and respectful leadership needed now to carry us through these uncertainties as well as what we find in the immediate future. You don't have to hold elected or appointed office to lead. You do have to have a commitment to cut away that morass of indifference relative to the role of leadership. And so I would say to you that we can follow the example that's been set so eloquently for us by your classmate, Ms. Ashley, to not being afraid to be different, not being afraid to take a different course, even though others may look askance at you, as long as you're satisfied within here that what you're doing is right, proceed. God bless you and every good wish to you. Thank you.